Tell me how you learn. That's the motto of our interview series, in which people share their personal experiences, tips and insights on learning. Our guest today, Antonietta Mira.
Yeah, Antonietta, nice that you have time. Thank you for joining our Tell Me How to Learn series. It would be great if you could give a short introduction of yourself.
Yes, I'm a professor of statistics and I direct a data science lab. So my job is do research, teaching, and I'm very much into popularizing science also these days. And that maybe mathematics could become a language, like language for freedom that everybody understands, like music or like any other language.
If you look at yourself, Antonietta, how do you learn? What is your most favorite way of learning?
Well, as a statistician, I learn by combining past experience on one hand and novel experiments on the other end. So those are two sources of information that we can transform into knowledge. And I really follow this path. So I look at my previous information and I collect data, and this helps me in my learning process. And combining these two sources of information, it's really helpful to me because this allows me also to ask people. This is also part of information, and learn from their own experience, learn from previous mistakes. And this paradigm also allows me to change my mind when new data becomes available.
Where do you learn best? What is the most favorite place where you love to learn?
I like to learn by myself, reading and listening and thinking. I also like to confront myself with others, so talking and discussing. I think it's really a dual mode. So I need to have time for myself to re-elaborate and rethink. But I also need to the interaction with others.
What is your most favorite place? You're sitting out on the terrace, walking through nature, or?
I think in my bedroom in the morning when I get up. So my mind is fresh, and I like to stay there and think. That's important for me, early morning. But I also love to think while walking into nature. I'm like walking, hiking, skiing. So I spend a lot of time also in the nature and the environment, a quiet environment, a silent environment is also very helpful.
When you look into the future, what do you think will be a perfect learning environment?
I can adapt myself to different learning environments. I'm very flexible. And this has been a characteristic that I've had since when I was a kid. So I'm very good at concentrating, and even with a little time span, I can just switch on and think and learn. So the environment is not that relevant to me because I can build my own internal environment. And so the external environment is not a distraction because I can just abstract myself and think and focus on my thoughts.
When you look back, what kind of learning experience really comes into your mind where you said, wow, I've really just learned something?
I remember when I was a kid, I used to learn with my mother, and she really gave me a methodology of learning. So she was sitting next to me and we were going over the lecture that I had to learn for my class. And she was helping me creating schemes to formalize my line of thinking and understanding, and also to memorize. She was very good at that. And that was really helpful. And I think this is the type of methodology that I also try to pass to my students. Besides teaching them statistics, I think it's important for me to give them a methodology and to enhance their curiosity and to motivate them and to avoid, to keep their level of attention. Yeah, back to your question. Yes, it does happen to me that I see things. For example, also during my Ph.D. thesis, I remember going to the office of my Ph.D. advisor. And at the beginning, I was just listening, and it seemed I couldn't understand what he was telling me. And then all of a sudden, everything started to make sense. You need to be patient in a learning experience and not to give up.
You were just talking about your students. When you look at your students, what kind of mistakes, in a very broad sense, would you apologize if they would do?
I'm very open and I would accept a lot. I only ask for respect that I give to them, but they should also respect each other. The one thing that I don't like is when they get distracted, because they distract me as well and the other students. Well, I welcome questions, and I don't like where I ask questions and they stand still and don't interact. And I try to encourage interaction. It's not easy at all, especially in statistics and mathematics, because they are worried about saying stupid things. And I always tell them that no question is stupid, that worse is the answer, that it's a stupid answer. What I do not forgive is not asking questions and not stopping me when, for example, they don't understand something.
So when you look at the other side, what kind of attitudes or behaviors, what kind of character should really a good teacher, trainer have and embrace?
Yeah, this is a hard question. I'm still in a learning process in this regard. Respect for the students and for their ideas, it's important. I really do learn a lot from my students, and they're like my kids. I don't have kids myself, but they are really like my own kids, in the sense that I do learn a lot from them. And it's important to have this changing role experience to allow them to teach me something because it gives them confidence. So to enhance their own positive aspects, to see what they are good at and to improve their quality and to reward them and to show them that you appreciate their effort, and even if maybe they are discouraged, and to keep their self-confidence high. It's not easy, but it's really rewarding when you see that it works.
Yeah, I can imagine. What was your own most favorite subject at school?
See, I was good at a lot of things, and this is why it was hard for me to decide what to do. And as a matter of fact, I think I ended up doing statistics just because I had a good professor that motivated me to do statistics. And in turn, this is what I try to do with my students. So I was raised in an environment that very much valued science and rational thinking on one hand, but I didn't have a really preferred subject. It was a more interdisciplinary focus and learning, and try to see connections between different subjects and topics.
When you need to learn something new, do you like this process, and how do you conduct this process, learning something new?
Yes, I'm very curious as a person, and curiosity is a value for me. So I like to be engaged in new learning paths. And typically what I do when I start learning something new is go to an expert, somebody that I recognize as an expert that can give me an overview and advise me where to start looking at things. And this, in a sense, goes back to the very first question. I learn by past experience and novel experiments. So past experience is not only my own past experience, but is knowledge that others have accumulated.
So now, with what kind of color would you associate learning?
Well, the color that I would associate with at least my learning experience is white, because white is given by an additive synthesis of all colors and is obtained by combining colors. Learning experience is also about adding and combining. And when the light goes through a crystal, the white light goes through a crystal, then it creates a rainbow with the full range of colors. Like, if you probably know the cover of the Pink Floyd album, The Dark Side of the Moon. That's the image that I have in mind. As a teacher, I would like to be for my student that prism that separates my knowledge and diffuses it to them. And at the same time, I would like to be the light that illuminates. And at the same time, I would like them to become a source of light for me in a exchange role setting, as I mentioned before. And I think it really applies that you pass your own light through a prism, and the light that comes in is your white, that you yourself obtain by combining different sources. And this process can go on, creating a rainbow of colors. And then each one can take his or her favorite color from the rainbow that I can produce and pass it on and combine it with other sources of light and colors.
It's a nice picture. Very nice picture. And when you look into the animal world, from which animal would you love to learn what?
Well, the animal world and nature in general really has a lot to teach us. For example, I would like to learn the art of camouflage, like from those insects like the stick insect. This is, to me, sort of a magic that happens. And I like this because I also like magic, in particular mathematical magic. Of course, I would like to learn cooperation and teamwork from bees and ants. I would like to learn loyalty from dogs. They're really so faithful. And I used to have a dog when I was a kid. I like the independence from the cats. I like to learn the art of imitating that a lot of monkeys have, specifically the orangutans. And I like to learn from migrating animals, the beauty of returning to the origins and to your roots. So there's really a lot that we can learn from animals.
Very nice examples, and quite a lot as well. So the very last question, Antonietta, would be, do you have any kind of motto for learning?
I would say be curious, dare, and follow your internal drivers. But at the same time, rely on experts' advice and stand on the shoulders of giants that came before you.
Thank you very much for your time and for your very interesting answers, Antonietta. Great to have you.
Well, thank you for the opportunity of sharing and dividing or discussing this with you. Thank you.
We thank Antonietta Mira, Professor for Statistics at the University in Lugano, Switzerland, for this interview. It was conducted in early November 2021. Did you like this podcast? Were you able to take something away for your own learning practices? What was particularly important for you? We look forward to read your comments, and of course we are happy if you give us a thumbs up. To make sure you don't miss a new episode, please subscribe to our channel. You can find more information about who we are and what we do in the text below. It also includes further links to the topic.